And that's why the White House and the president himself have been in touch with lawmakers all weekend long to get this bill passed. And they are working very hard to do so. It remains a top priority for the president. And this bill has exposed the clear differences between Republicans and Democrats in 2025. The Democrats are doubling down on craziness and radical policies that are undermining the very fabric of our country. Just look at the Democrat nominee for New York City Mayor, Zohran Mamdani. He's a Democrat socialist, really a communist, who proudly calls to defund the police, peddles anti-Semitism, praises pro-Hamas groups, wants Israel abolished, and believes wealthy Americans should not exist. Those are his words, just as recent as this weekend. Meanwhile, under President Trump's leadership, Republicans are fighting tirelessly for everyday middle-class working Americans who re-elected this president, and we're carrying out a revolution of common sense, and all of that is packed into this one big, beautiful bill. It delivers the largest middle and working class tax cuts in U.S. history. It keeps America safe by funding the largest ever one-time investment in border security. It's enough to reverse the Biden border invasion. And every single Democrat is against that, against securing our border and deporting millions of criminal illegal aliens. The one big beautiful bill also strengthens and protects Medicaid benefits, despite what Democrats are saying, for eligible American citizens who rely on it, like pregnant women, children, seniors, and people with disabilities, by eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse that threaten to destroy this program that was intended for the most vulnerable in our society. And every single Democrat in Congress is against rooting out that waste, fraud, and abuse in blocking the 1.4 million illegal aliens who are currently improperly receiving these benefits that should be going to American tax-paying citizens. The Democrats in Congress are more concerned with defending illegal aliens than they are hardworking Americans. And the big beautiful bill also revitalizes our military and enhances our defense capabilities, protects our country from emerging new threats by funding a cutting-edge missile defense system called the Golden Dome. And as we all know, the one big beautiful bill makes the Trump tax cuts permanent. The White House and the president are adamant that this bill is passed and that this bill makes its way to his desk. Republicans need to stay tough and unified during the home stretch, and we are counting on them to get the job done. So with that, we will take up questions. John Fredericks is in our new media seat today. John, thanks for being here. We'll kick it to you.
Thank you, Caroline. Let's get to the one big beautiful bill first. It appears now you're going to get at least 50 votes in the Senate. There'll be some amendments. What is the president's confidence level in getting 218 votes in the House by the end of this week in order for him to sign it on Friday?
Well, look, we are very well aware, the president is very well aware, that this bill needs to not only pass out of the Senate, but it needs to go back to the House, and we need the full weight of the Republican conference to get behind this bill, and we expect them to, and we are confident that they will. The president has been working hand in hand with Senate Majority Leader Thune and also our House Republican leader, or the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, both of whom will be at the White House today to meet with the president yet again. I believe they were here this morning, actually.
I have one follow-up.
Sure.
You outlined Jerome Powell and the note that the president just sent to him. There are many who believe that Powell has been politicized in a lot of different ways. The president has not been shy about acting on things that he believes in. Why not just fire Jerome Powell and put in somebody that is going to lower rates? Why wait?
Well, it's a good question, and one you can ask the president, because that's a decision for him to make. But you're right to point out the politicization of the Fed, and it's very unfortunate for our country. But Jerome Powell cut rates numerous times ahead of the election when Joe Biden was in this Oval Office, but now he refuses to, and the economy is in a much better place. So there really isn't a good explanation for that, and the president is rightfully calling attention to it.
Thank you.
Kelly.
Good afternoon. On Iran, the president posted on his social that he is not even talking to them anymore. When we were at NATO, he said he expected the U.S. and Iran to have talks as early as this week, and that he might even want to see a written agreement. What is the update now if he's saying he's not even talking?
So as I told you from the podium last week, I said the administration, and namely our special envoy Steve Witkoff, has been in communication both directly and indirectly with the Iranians. That communication continues. The president himself has not talked to Iran, which he pointed out in his truth statement. Peter.
Thank you, Caroline. Does President Trump want Zohran Mamdani deported?
I haven't heard him say that. I haven't heard him call for that. But certainly he does not want this individual to be elected. I was just speaking to him about it and his radical policies that will completely crush New York City, which is obviously a city that the president holds near and dear to his heart.
There's this Congressman, Andy Ogles, he wants the Attorney General Bondi to explore denaturalization proceedings because he thinks Mamdani could have misrepresented or concealed material support for terrorism based on rap lyrics he wrote in 2017. Does President Trump think this is a worthwhile use of the Attorney General's time?
Well, I'll let the president speak to that. I have not seen those claims, but surely if they are true, it's something that should be investigated.
And could President Trump see himself, you said you just talked to him about this, could he see himself working with a mayor, Mamdani, somebody who on Meet the Press this weekend was given 3 chances to condemn the phrase globalize the intifada, but he couldn't?
Yeah, look, the president is always willing to work with everyone. He's working with Democrats across the country, Democrat governors, and he said he'll work with people on the far left. He works with Republicans. He works with people in the middle. He wants to do what's right for America, but surely someone who holds these values and is quite literally a communist and condemns every value that makes this country great. Common sense, law and order, low taxes, working hard, and earning your keep in this country. He's against all of that, and I think the president would find it difficult to work with someone like that. If he is elected, I'm sure you'll hear more from the president on that, but we'll have to see. Hopefully the voters of New York City choose wisely. Sure.
Thanks, Caroline. The president on Friday said that he was hopeful of a Gaza deal within the next week. Can you give us an update on any progress towards that, and on any talks that the White House is having with Israel on that?
Sure. Well, I know that Mr. Dermer is in Washington this week to meet with senior officials here at the White House. I also know that this administration is in constant communication with Israeli leadership, and the president himself speaks frequently, as you know, to Prime Minister Netanyahu. But this has been a priority for the president since he took office, to end this brutal war in Gaza. It is because of this president that humanitarian aid is being brought into the region. It's heartbreaking to see the images that have come out from both Israel and Gaza throughout this war, and the president wants to see it end. He wants to save lives, and however, the main priority for the president also remains to bring all of the hostages home out of Gaza. As you know, his tireless effort has brought home many of the hostages, including all of the American hostages who were held there. So he wants to see both things happen, and we're continuing to work very hard to do those things. Sure.
Yeah, thanks, Caroline. What is the White House's response to Senator Tillis's criticism articulated from the Senate floor yesterday, in which he said passing the big, beautiful bill would betray President Trump's promise to protect Medicaid?
Well, he is just wrong. And the president and the vast majority of Republicans who are supportive of this legislation are right. This bill protects Medicaid, as I laid out for you, for those who truly deserve this program, the needy, pregnant women, children, sick Americans who physically cannot work. And what it does is it ensures that able-bodied Americans who can work 20 hours a week are actually doing so, and that will therefore strengthen and protect those benefits for Americans who need it, as well as cutting out the waste, fraud, and abuse, as well as getting 1.4 million illegal aliens off of the program. So all of those measures are actually going to protect it for those who need it. That's the president's position, and that's what this bill does, and that's why Republicans need to vote for it and get it to the president's desk.
That kind of criticism from a Republican senator, is that reason for concern for the passage of this?
No, it's not. We're confident this bill is going to be back at the White House by the 4th of July. Stephen.
Thank you, Caroline. 2 questions. On the New York mayoral race, does the president plan to make an endorsement? And secondly, on Jerome Powell, a lot of the focus obviously has been on interest rates and him keeping them high, but a new controversy erupted today. My colleague first reported that he's facing Chairman Jerome Powell is facing accusations of lying to Congress, which is a potential crime, about luxurious details of the Fed's $2.5 billion renovation project. Senator Loomis has called attention to this. Some experts want him to be investigated. Does the White House want these allegations investigated and, if found substantiated, punished?
I'll have to take a look at those allegations, and I will raise them to the president's attention and let him speak on them himself. To your first question regarding the mayoral race, the president was asked that yesterday by Maria Bartiromo. He refused to give an endorsement, so you won't get one from me at this podium unless he wants me to do that. Phil, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Sure. And then I can go to you.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thank you. The president said that he's working on a temporary pause for immigration enforcement in certain industries. I'm wondering what you can tell us about how he's determining which industries are deserving of a pass. He mentioned farmers, but what about, say, construction workers? I mean, shouldn't there just be one standard here?
I don't have any more details to read out for you, but what I can tell you is that the White House is working closely every day with the Department of Agriculture as well as the Department of Homeland Security when it comes to workforce enforcement, worksite enforcement, and the president's focus and the focus of this administration is, of course, to remove public safety threats from the streets and to deport as many of the illegal criminals, especially the violent criminals that we know are still here because of the previous administration. So that's the main priority and the goal.
And then the president has already made cuts to the office of the Director of National Intelligence, but now Senator Tom Cotton has put forward a bill that would cut the office by another 60%. What's the president's reaction to that legislation, and is this something that he would support, those additional cuts?
I don't know if the president's even aware of that legislation, but I will get you a response if he is aware and if he wants to respond to it. Go ahead.
Thanks, Caroline. You mentioned the dangerous wildlife at the alligator Alcatraz. Is that a design feature? Why is the president going with this mega bill in such a precarious position in the Senate? And then also, can you talk about the CBO estimate that it would add about 11 million uninsured?
Well, look, when you have illegal murderers and rapists and heinous criminals in a detention facility surrounded by alligators, yes, I do think that's a deterrent for them to try to escape. We do know that some of these illegal criminals have escaped from other detention facilities, like one in New Jersey, which I know was recently reported on. So, of course, we want to keep the American people safe, and we want to remove these public safety threats from our streets, and we want to effectively detain them as best as we can. As for why the president is going, I think his trip to this detention facility actually underscores the need to pass the One Big Beautiful Bill, because we need more detention facilities across the country. The last administration let in nearly 20 million illegal people from all over the world, and this administration is focused on arresting and detaining them. But in comparison to that 20 million illegal criminal population in our country, we only have 7,000 ICE agents in the interior who are doing this very important work. And so we obviously need more personnel, we need more resources, and that's why we need to pass the One Big Beautiful Bill.
On the CBOs.
Go ahead. Yes, in the pink.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you please share some details of China trade deal? Has the U.S. agreed to ease some export, technology export restrictions?
Sure. Well, the final language that was agreed upon in both Geneva and in London was signed just past week. We can get you that final text of the agreement. Go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline.
Eamon, and then behind you.
Okay, thanks, Caroline. So on Jay Powell, has the president got a short list of who he wants to see as Jay Powell's successor, and is he going to name a successor as early as this summer?
I won't get ahead of the president on any announcements on that.
Does he like Scott Besson for the job?
Again, I won't get ahead of the president.
And on TikTok, if you could, real quick, he said
Sure.
yesterday he's got a buyer, but the question there is, does he have a seller? And do you have any indication from the Chinese government that they've authorized a sale of TikTok to the U.S. or to U.S. buyers?
What I can tell you is that these discussions with China regarding the sale of TikTok have been ongoing at the highest level, and they will continue. As you know, we have another 90-day extension, and it's just to continue to work out this deal and make sure that TikTok stays on for the American people. That's the president's main goal in this, while protecting their privacy and their security. Behind you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. The president has been calling for a deal in Gaza for 2 days and many posts. Who is blocking the deal? And one other thing, when he posted on Netanyahu's trial, also he said it interferes with the negotiations on Iran and on Gaza. What did he mean by that?
I'm sorry, to your second question?
The second question, when he posted about the Israeli Prime Minister trial,
Yes.
he said it interferes with the negotiations on Gaza and on Iran. What did he mean by that?
It interferes because it physically and logistically was interfering. The Prime Minister was slated to go to court last week when he's in the middle of negotiating a peace deal and bringing hostages out of a war-torn region. And so the President was simply, I think, emphasizing his empathy that he has for Bibi Netanyahu and seeing him go what he's going through with his own judicial system in the state of Israel. Clearly, the President knows that very well. He, too, was a victim of a judicial system that was trying to put him in jail, as you all know. You all covered it. But President Trump prevailed. That's why he's back in the Oval Office, and he believes that Bibi Netanyahu is a great leader for the people of Israel. The President just worked with him closely to end that 12-day war and to obliterate Iran's nuclear facility, to take out that imminent threat, not just to the state of Israel, but also to the United States of America and the rest of the world. And he believes that Prime Minister Netanyahu should be praised for that. Go ahead.
Thanks, Caroline. On the mega bill and the amendment that would limit Medicaid expansion under the Affordable Care Act, does the President want that amendment to pass?
The President wants this bill to pass. Meredith.
Hey, thanks, Caroline. On trade, we have this looming July 9th deadline coming up. We heard the Treasury Secretary say that he expects to wrap up these trade deals by Labor Day, but when President Trump was asked yesterday about any extensions by July 9th, he said he didn't think that would be necessary. So is the President ruling out any extensions on trade for any nations, even if they're negotiating in good faith?
Well, you heard from him directly. He said he did not think that it would be necessary. He is going to set the rates for many of these countries if they don't come to the table to negotiate in good faith. And he is meeting with his trade team this week to do that. Mary.
Thanks, Caroline. I just watched a CNN segment on a new app called Ice Block, and it kind of appeared to be promoting this app where you can tell people where ICE agents are. Given the recent rise...
An app that tells people where ICE agents are?
Yes. And given the rise, I believe, 500% increase in assaults on ICE agents, I wanted to see if you could comment on that and why CNN would be promoting such an app.
Well, it's a very good question. I'll have to go back and watch the clip myself, but surely it sounds like this would be an incitement of further violence against our ICE officers. As you know, as you stated, there's been a 500% increase in violence against ICE agents, law enforcement officers across the country who are just simply trying to do their jobs and remove public safety threats from our communities. And that's something we as Americans, including journalists at CNN who live in many of these cities where illegal aliens are hiding and were let in from the previous administration, should be very grateful for. So we haven't seen the clip. We'll take a look at it, but certainly it's unacceptable that a major network would promote such an app that is encouraging violence against law enforcement officers who are trying to keep our country safe.
Caroline,
Shelby.
I just wanted to get a clarification on the Senator Rick Scott's amendment. It sounds like the President is agnostic about whether it's attached. Is that accurate?
Look, I'm not going to get into the details of the discussions that are ongoing right now, but the President wants these senators to come to a conclusion, to get this bill back to the White House as soon as possible and make sure that it's a piece of legislation that can make its way back through the House as well. So obviously there's some ping-ponging between both sides of Capitol Hill right now, but that's why Senator Thune and Speaker Johnson are working with the President in lockstep every step of the way. In the back, News Nation, go ahead.
Thanks, Caroline. The President did
and then in
announce...
front of you, yes.
In front of...
Sure, I'll take both of you.
The President did announce last week that the trade deal with India is closed and this could happen anytime soon. Are there any roadblocks as of now? Are there any updates on that? And how does the President see this about China's role or its influence in the Indo-Pacific region?
Sure, yes. The President said that last week, and it remains true. I actually just spoke to our Secretary of Commerce about it. He was in the Oval Office with the President. They are finalizing these agreements, and you'll hear from the President and his team, his trade team, very soon when it comes to India.
And on China? How do we counter China on that front?
Yes, I mean, look, India remains a very strategic ally in the Asia Pacific, and the President has a very good relationship with Prime Minister Modi, as you know, and he will continue to have that. Go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. On the reconciliation bill, Senator Tillis from the floor yesterday seemed to suggest President Trump was getting bad counsel on the effects of the bill. Is President Trump aware of the analyses, and there are several of these, that suggest if rural hospitals potentially close, if there are Medicaid patients in the millions that become ineligible for that.
Yes, and that claim is just simply untrue. Rural hospitals comprise 7% of all hospital spending on Medicaid, and that illustrates that they have not benefited from the massive increase of waste, fraud, and abuse under the Biden administration. So this bill strengthens Medicaid. It will protect those benefits that hardworking Americans need, and that's why the president wants this bill to pass. The senator was wrong. The president put out a Truth Social post addressing it, and then the senator announced he's no longer running for office anymore. So I think that case has been closed, and the White House is continuing to focus on getting this legislation to the president's desk for his signature. Go ahead. Yes, you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, you and then you. There's confusion here.
A question on Syria.
Go ahead.
Has the Syrian government get back to you that they are ready to join the Abraham Accord? Is there any discussion with the Syrian and Israeli government for having a security agreement? This is the first question. And the second question, what's the end goal for talking with the Iranian? Is that only focused on the nuclear program, or are you willing to speak about the other issues like the proxy groups and ballistic missiles, or even trade with Iran?
So as for discussions between Syria and Israel, you'll have to reach out to those respective governments. I can't comment on that. But what I can tell you is that this afternoon, the president will be signing an executive order to terminate the United States sanctions program on Syria. And this is in an effort to promote and support the country's path to stability and peace. The order will remove sanctions on Syria while maintaining sanctions on the former President Assad, his associates, human rights abusers, drug traffickers, persons linked to chemical weapons activities, ISIS and their affiliates, and Iranian proxies. And this is, again, an action that the president promised and shocked the world with in Saudi Arabia, because he's committed to supporting a Syria that is stable, unified, and at peace with itself and its neighbors. The president met with Syria's new president when we were in the Middle East, as you know, and so this is another promise made and promise kept by this president to promote peace and stability in the region. Go ahead, Alice.
Sure. Questions on two topics, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Alice with NTD here. First on Canada. Canada says it's now dropping its digital services tax on American tech companies days after President Trump says he's halting all trade talks with Canada. First, what's the president's reaction to this? Can you tell us more about his call with Prime Minister Carney over the weekend? How did he get Carney to drop it? And also, what's the impact on American tech companies given this latest progress, as the president says he has been fighting for American tech companies?
It's very simple. Prime Minister Carney in Canada caved to President Trump in the United States of America. And President Trump knows how to negotiate, and he knows that he is governing the best country and the best economy in this world, on this planet. And every country on the planet needs to have good trade relationships with the United States. And it was a mistake for Canada to vow to implement that tax that would have hurt our tech companies here in the United States. The president made his position quite clear to the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister called the president last night to let the president know that he would be dropping that tax, which is a big victory for our tech companies and our American workers here at home.
And on Harvard, if you don't mind, the administration today formally accused Harvard of violating civil rights laws by not doing enough to fight anti-Semitism. We know that the president has talked to us before about Harvard potentially having a deal with the administration in the coming days. Do you have an updated timeline for that? How is the negotiations going? And is more pressure needed for Harvard to take fighting anti-Semitism seriously?
Well, there was quite a direct letter that was sent to Harvard this morning, as you know. The negotiations are taking place behind closed doors, so I won't comment on that. But what I will share with all of you, for those who haven't seen it, is the context of this letter, because I think it's very important. And this comes from the Department of Health and Human Services, which concluded after a thorough investigation that Harvard University is in a violent violation of Title VI of the Civil Rights Act, which prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, and national origin. And if you read some of the content of the investigation and what they found, the majority of Jewish students reportedly experienced negative bias or discrimination on their campus, while a quarter of Jewish students at Harvard felt physically unsafe. Jewish and Israeli students were assaulted and spit on. They hid their kippahs for fear of being harassed and concealed their Jewish identity from classmates for fear of ostracization. Images were widely circulated amongst the Harvard community that trafficked in obvious anti-Semitic tropes, including one that showed a dollar sign inside of a Star of David, and the campus was vandalized with anti-Semitic stickers, including one that showed the Israeli flag with a swastika. The Harvard campus was racked by demonstrations, as you all know, violent protests that violated the university's rules of conduct. The demonstrations called for genocide and murder, denied Jewish and Israeli students access to campus spaces. These are all facts that Harvard cannot dispute, and that's why the administration has found them in violation of Title VI and has threatened to withhold their federal funding, because if you break federal law, you should not be receiving federal tax dollars. And so I rest my case on Harvard. Andrea.
Yeah, so President Macron of France earlier today said that tariffs levied by powerful countries are often a form of blackmail, and criticized the sort of process that's underway. He didn't mention the United States specifically, but said that these tariffs are really hurting developing countries. So there's this big UN conference going on. What do you say to that? What is the president, was he aware of that comment, and did he have any response?
I think the president and the White House would certainly reject that characterization by Prime Minister Macron. Tariffs are an effective use of presidential power to bring back the middle class, to bring back our manufacturing industry, which was the backbone of our American economy and has been hollowed out by globalist politicians who have caved to foreign countries instead of doing what's right for American workers. That's why the president is effectively utilizing his authority to wage tariffs and to utilize tariffs, and continues to be in discussions and negotiations on trade to do what's right for America. And Europe and the rest of the world might not be used to that, but President Trump is back in town, and he's going to do what's right for our people and our country.
Can I just follow up on Netanyahu? So there's a report in Israeli media that the Prime Minister will actually be here, that Netanyahu will be here today meeting with the President. Can you confirm that?
I don't believe Prime Minister Netanyahu is here today. Okay. I think you guys would know about that by now. Okay. Unless there's something going on I don't know about, but I don't believe he is. I do know he has expressed interest in coming to Washington and meeting with the President, and we are working on a date for that. I do not believe it is today, but that would be fun. You never know in this White House, let's be honest. Go ahead.
Thanks, Carolyn. Does the President support this new measure in the big, beautiful bill that would impose steep new taxes on new wind and solar projects?
I believe you're referring to the credits for wind and solar projects.
No,
and what?
I'm talking about the new tax. There's a new tax that it's estimated would add 10 to 20% to the cost of any new wind and solar projects that start after this year.
Again, I don't want to comment on the specifics of provisions, but I'm sure the President will speak on that directly. Again, this is an ongoing process. The President continues to be very much engaged with the leadership in both the Senate and the House to get this bill back to his desk.
Did the President ask for that provision? Because the National Building Trades Union is saying that it's the equivalent of terminating more than 1,000 Keystone XL pipeline projects. Is that something that would concern him?
Well, the President spoke on this yesterday in his interview, and he said he understands that legislators want to protect jobs in their communities and in their districts. And so he understands why some of them are against this provision, but he also understands why people want the provision. So again, this is an ongoing deliberation and discussion, and the President is engaged in this very much. Go ahead.
Thanks, Caroline. We've been hearing from White House officials for weeks that you're close on trade deals with a number of countries. Can we get any update on which countries will have deals by the 9th and when there may be any announcements?
I'll let the President and the trade team speak on it.
Can you respond to the CBO estimate that the Senate bill would increase the deficit by nearly $3.3 trillion?
This is one of the most fiscally conservative pieces of legislation that has ever made its way through Capitol Hill. There's $2 trillion in mandatory savings in this bill, and not only that, the projected growth that this bill will bring to our economy. It will be an economic boom. The Council of Economic Advisors has an analysis that shows that the bill will generate $4.1 trillion in economic growth, and it will cut taxes, putting more money back into the American people's pockets. That's why this president wants this bill to pass, and I know he's busy working the phones and doing what he needs to do today to make it happen. So we'll see you all later. Thank you. We'll see you in Florida tomorrow. Thank you.
All right, Robert here, guys. So we just got some information on what's going on here with that shooter in Idaho. Now, this is interesting information. I'm getting conflicting information on this, though. But I wanted to show you guys really quickly some of the feeds that I'm looking at here about this suspect. Or actually, he's dead now, but he's obviously he was the suspect at the time that it happened. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of this information now that's coming up. This is coming off some of the forums. But people are saying now, breaking, this appears to be the residence of Wes Rowley. His name is Wes Rowley, and it's been confirmed through mainstream media that this is the name of the shooter, and the shooter's picture obviously is out there now for everybody to see. But they're saying that he was a MAGA supporter, so he was a Trump supporter. And somebody's giving his address here. Note the truck in the driveway. A quick background check shows that this guy is 100% MAGA. And this is coming out of, I believe, Arizona. Archeryclub.com. Oh, he has azarcheryclub.com on his truck. Supposedly this is it. Now we're going to look and do a little more investigation in this, but if you really look at some of the posts here, people are saying that this is his parents, and this is the shooter. Now, I've gotten other information here that says that this is confirmed here, but I don't know if this is true. But, I mean, it just seems to contradict, because they're saying here that he was born in Russia, he was raised in New York and Florida. But they're saying in this other post that he came from, I believe, Arizona. These are his parents. Phoenix. So we're not exactly sure on how he could have been coming from Russia and then raised in New York City and Florida, and all of a sudden now is in Arizona. Well, maybe they just didn't get the last part of where he lived, but this supposedly is his house or where he was living. And let's see. The Cooney County Sheriff stated during a press conference that Rowley acted alone based on recovered weapons and bullet trajectories. He confirmed the shelter-in-place order has now been lifted and that there's no... Now, I didn't hear that part, but that he was acting alone, because the conference we heard last night, they did not say that. This is all just within the last hour, this information coming out. Let's see here. The ambush unfolded shortly after crews arrived. Okay, so we need new updates here. Yeah, the scanner footage was just horrendous. To hear these guys that were being shot at, and two unresponsive firefighters, was really bad to have to listen to that. It says, okay, so according to Norris, it is likely the suspect was moving on foot as he fired from different positions, contributing to initial fears that more than one shooter might have been involved. The suspect's motives remains unknown, and sheriff's investigation is underway. Officials expect to recover additional firearms or equipment from the scene. Okay, so all right, so that was probably yesterday's information. Let me see here. If there's any new stuff, because there's always new stuff that comes out on these feeds. But I'm kind of curious about this information here. Hold on. West. Let me just look up this address really quick. I'm just kind of curious here. I did look up some other information that had to do with his supposed parents, if those are really his parents. Okay, so it says the Idaho shooter was a graduate of North Phoenix Prep and lived on East Acoma Drive in Phoenix. It says that his address was 1102. Okay, so I better not put that out there. He lived there for 6 years since October of 2018. He's lived there for 6 years, according to fastbackgroundchecks.com. It doesn't say he has a spouse. Well, wait a minute. There's a whole report, but oh, you know what? So that was his relative. There is a relative, Heather. I was looking at this on Facebook. So that is his relative. Okay, so this account here is a relative of his out of Phoenix, Arizona. She's a pet groomer, Fullerton, California, from Fullerton, California. I wonder if there's any pictures of him on her Facebook page. See, this is how you kind of do a little research here and find stuff out before they scrub it, before they put everything on lockdown here where you can't see it. This is the picture. See, there's the Make America Great guy. So those are actually his parents, or I don't know if they're his parents or if they're relatives. It does say that they are relatives. So it is true that when you look up that guy's name, that this is, see, there's that picture that's been floating around on social media saying that they're MAGA supporters. There's also pictures of, if that's true, that is his, see, is that his son? Or is that, okay, so supposedly he's from Russia, is what the other thing said. So maybe he's adopted. Let's see if we can find a picture of him. Is this the guy right here? As a kid? This was in 2024. Does this look like the shooter? Let's look at the shooter. Tell me if this looks like the kid. Does that look like him? He's got long hair there. He looks young. Well, they said he's only 20 years old. Does that look like him? And what the heck is he doing all the way up in North Idaho if he's from Arizona? But anyways, let's look at some more pictures here. Does that look like him? Maybe he had mental issues? Who knows? Jeez, he looks like he had some... So he was into archery. Remember on the book on his truck, it said archery, azarchery.com. So that's supposedly the relative of his, right? Let's see here. So were they big into archery? Really big into archery? I guess the son may have been into archery too, right? Let's see if we can find more pictures of the son here. If it's the son, I mean, it may not be the son. We don't know for sure, but they're connecting these two people as relatives. Even though his name is different, his last name is different than her name. I've been seeing on social media that these are his parents. So I don't know if that's true because their parents' name is different. Supposedly he's from Russia, so you're wondering maybe he was adopted. If it's true, if he was adopted, who knows? Would they have scrubbed information on this already because of the media attention? I wonder if they have his name in here. Let's see if his name is in here. We can do a search on his name in here. What was his name again? Wes, right? Does he have a social media account? Wes? They might have scrubbed that. Usually when there's a killer like that, they go into his social media and they shut it down. I don't see it in here. Wes, no. Well, I don't know. I can't say for sure because I cannot say that this is it. But I know that the name, when I did a search on Wes, the shooter's name, that it came up that this was a relative. That this name right here is a relative. And they're out of Arizona. But you're looking at, okay, so they do have pictures. See, that's the picture I showed you guys right there off the site. So it says Wes Rowley's mother's name is Heather Lynn. Okay, below is a very recent Facebook post where she wishes Wes a happy 20th birthday. Oh, wow. So they did wish him a happy birthday there. Let's see. Oh, wow. So that's him right there.
Go. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. It says, here's a video of Wes taken by his mother, Heather, just a few months ago when they were at Twin Falls in Hawaii. Twin Falls in Hawaii. So let's go back over there to that one post. Why would she leave all this up? That's what I gotta wonder. Let's go and look. May, they said a couple months ago. Okay, so here it is. Here is the post. So does she say Wes? Let's see. Wow, that didn't age very well. She said, in the post, she said, oh yeah, to my Wes. Happy 20th birthday to my Wes. I am so proud of the young man you have become. Uh-oh. That was May 1st. Like I said, that didn't age too well. My God, it's such a tragedy. I wonder what happened. There's got to be something that went on in this kid's head. What the heck happened to this kid? Why would he have done that? He's only 20 years old. Oh, man, that's so terrible. So I guess she had a stroke, it sounds like. She's 95% recovered. The fight was worth it. So she had some type of a stroke. She recovered 95%. So that's the mother. So I guess it is the mother. Now, I don't understand how he could be from Russia, because there's another post that says he's from Russia and that he grew up in Florida and in New York, but it doesn't say anything about him living in Arizona. So I don't know. Maybe that's disinformation. You know, you might have some disinformation trying to float around out there too. You know, so this looks like the guy. It looks like him too, right there. And this is his mother. Whether it's an adopted mother, he's an adopted son, because his name is different. His name is different. His name is Wes Rowley. Wes Rowley. But it looks like him. It looks just like him. I mean, except that his hair is shorter. Doesn't that look just like the dude? Tell me that don't look just like the dude there. Look. I mean, that's him. So, yeah, that's terrible. But they said there was another picture or post. Let's go back over here and look at this. Okay, so here it is. Just a quick note about original post. This is Wes Rowley's last known address, according to records. It's believed that he was in Idaho to help his father with his tree business. The truck may belong to his father and or mother, who are very much into archery per online postings. So that makes sense. But he was out there with his dad, supposedly helping to, you know, there's a lot of tree business in this area, so maybe he was up here with, you know, with his dad working. Somebody says he's not MAGA. A background check isn't gonna. Well, his parents are MAGA. Definitely, his parents are MAGA. So that's wrong. Okay, so now it's saying here 3 hours ago, the Idaho Tribune says that this name is allegedly suspect in yesterday's arson ambush attack in Coeur d'Alene as an individual named Wes Rowley, although this remains unconfirmed from anonymous sources. This is according to Daily Mail. Or no, the Idaho Tribune. The Idaho Tribune said that. Then Daily Mail said that that was what his name was. So they're saying his name was that in Daily Mail. But Idaho Tribune says it remains unconfirmed and it's from anonymous sources. Wow. So what's the truth? Well, we don't know for sure, I guess. Can't say for sure. It says he wasn't from Arizona. People are scratching their head on this one. So it says Wes Rowley, identified as the shooter in the tragic ambush in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, has a background that includes a history of legal issues and concerning behavior. Here is a summary based on available information. His legal history: had a prior arrest for assault in 2024, This incident involved him allegedly attacking a woman with a knife, for which he was charged with felony assault with a deadly weapon. Wow. He pleaded guilty to a reduced charge of misdemeanor assault, receiving a sentence of 180 days in jail with 150 days suspended, and was ordered to undergo a mental health evaluation and complete anger management classes. Mental health and behavior. Rowley's social media activity, particular on platforms like X, formerly Twitter, revealed disturbing content. He posted about his disdain for authority figures, including police and firefighters, and expressed radical views. His posts included threats and a general hostility towards society, which raised concerns among those who followed him. Accordingly, he was known to have made threats against his family, leading to a no-contact order being issued against him. What? That doesn't make sense with a post of his mother, if that was his mother. I don't know, man. That's just bizarre. It's not making sense right now, at least from what I saw on the social media. It says Idaho's shooter's image looked really suspect. Sus means suspect to me, so I asked at perplexity.ai answer. The image of the man displayed characteristics commonly associated with AI generated portraits. The background appears uniformly smooth and lacks natural photographic depth. So they're saying it might be AI generated, that image there. Yeah, it didn't look right to me. That kind of looked like a mugshot, but I don't know. That doesn't look right. It says these visual cues strongly suggest that the image is likely produced by an AI image generator. So they're saying that the image might not be right, might not be him. Now, what is this? What the heck? Looks very similar to me. What the hell? That don't look like him. Okay, so it says he was estranged from his family since 2024. This is supposedly a more recent photo of the assailant. That does look like a dude trying to act like a girl, because he's got... But they're saying here that she was saying nice stuff about her son, and there was a video of him posted recently. That couldn't be. Now this is interesting. She posted on June 20th that she was getting, remember how they said they had a no contact order because she was getting because he was threatening his own parents? So look at this. She was getting all these unknown caller. She was really concerned about how she was getting all these calls just a few days ago. This was only like 10 days ago. She was getting all these calls, these random calls, hang-ups, every like few minutes. And someone says, oh, it's a stalker, probably found you online via your business. So that happened just only 10 days ago. That's kind of scary. So I wish we could come over the mountains this weekend. Glad you can come up to see the play. Break a leg this weekend. Okay, so what this woman said here, she's from Seattle, Washington, so that was in Washington. She made it sound like she was telling her to come over that they could come over the mountains this weekend. So that would be kind of a hop, skip, and a jump over the mountains to come into Idaho. So maybe they were in Idaho. I wish I could too, cousin. See, she was traveling to Seattle, Washington. See, This was on the 26th of June. They were going from Arizona to Washington. That kind of sounds weird. Why do people put what they're doing online? You know, like they just basically just tell everything about what they're going to do right there on Facebook. So they were traveling to Seattle, Washington with Miles Latos from Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. I wonder who that is. Oh, her cousin. That's her cousin. And watch him perform in a play. Okay, so she was going to watch him perform in a play. Anyways, let's see. I want to look at that one more picture there. So this doesn't make sense to me because somebody else posted that he was from Russia. Now that had to be wrong then, because this is a picture of him when he was a kid, and obviously she's telling him, happy 20th birthday to my Wes. I am so proud of the young man you have become. Did he even respond? Let's see if he responded to that. Because I don't see he has a Facebook account. Younger kids like that don't use Facebook. It's usually just the older people now. I don't even think he probably is on Facebook. It doesn't look like. Wes. Wow, this is crazy. This is what happens, and then they're going to put their social media on private. You watch. This will be on private here real soon. If this really happened with them, don't you think that they would want to cover all this up because they're going to get all kinds of media attention? You know, you would think that they're going to cover all this stuff up because they don't want everybody looking in and checking this out. Scrutinizing every little detail of their lives. People are going to go through all their pictures. I mean, this is what's going to end up happening. So they're saying that he was estranged from his family since 2024. But that might be something that I didn't see, that this other post said that this was just a recent. There could have been something that happened. Okay, West Raleigh 20. Okay, so this is somebody saying he's got mental issues. Let's see. Okay, so it says Rowley lived. What? So now they're asking Grok, the AI, and the AI says Rowley lived with his family in Coeur d'Alene before the incident. His family had reported his threatening behavior to authorities, indicating a pattern of escalating aggression. So if he lived with his family in Coeur d'Alene, then this can't be the person, because this person or his parents, if these are his parents, lived in Arizona. The no contact order was the result of these threats, and they suggested a troubled relationship with his family members. Okay, so the community had online. Okay, so let me go back here really quick and let me look and see. She lives in Arizona. Oh, this doesn't make any sense. I'm just going to kind of check and see, like, where all these people live here. Illinois. Sacramento. Fullerton. Fullerton. Okay, so with many expressing shock and sadness over the loss of the firefighters and the nature of the attack, the incident was sparked with discussions of mental health, gun control, and the safety of first responders. Authorities are still investigating the motive behind Raleigh's actions, but his history of legal troubles, mental health issues, and expressed hostility toward authority figures provides some context. Now, if he was an adopted kid, sometimes adopted kids have all kinds of issues. You know what I mean? If he truly was adopted, but why was his name different? Why was his name different than his parents' name? That's what I want to know. Why is his name is different? Maybe his dad is not his real dad. Maybe, there's a lot of things that could have happened where he kept his dad's old name, or maybe he didn't. I don't know. You can't even begin at all the different things that could have happened. But it says the premeditated nature of the attack, starting a fire to lure firefighters, indicates a level of planning and intent. It says the background picture, the background information paints a picture of a young man with significant personal and legal challenges whose actions culminated in a devastating attack on the 29th. This is the AI saying this. The ongoing investigation may reveal more about his motives and the full extent of something. Okay. Let's see what the other one says here. That's not it. This one? Yeah, because it says that he lived in Coeur d'Alene. This is just so bizarre. How could he have lived in the Coeur d'Alene area? Stepfather. Okay, so it's a stepfather. See? That's what I was thinking. It's got to be like a stepfather. I doubt this makes his stepson MAGA. Yeah. So the stepfather was MAGA. Stepfather silly. Um, People are upset that they're saying that they were MAGA, that the shooter was MAGA, when, the parents could be, but maybe the kid isn't. Obviously the kid had an issue with his parents if there was legal restraining orders. But for that post to be posted that she's proud of what her son has become on his 20th birthday, I mean, that was only a few months ago that she posted that. So if there really was an estrangement, as they said, an estrangement, this post right here, May 1st, that was only like, 2 months ago, almost 2 months ago. She posted that she's happy and proud of the young man that he has become. I love you, my son. Maybe she's saying this out of hurt that they're not able to communicate anymore. Maybe she's just hoping and praying that he'll come back around by saying that. I don't know. It's so weird. His 20th birthday was in May. And it looks like he didn't really respond. So he's also on X. So let me see if they said he was on X and they had posts on X. Let's see if we can find some posts on X. Wes Rowley. Let's see if we can find him on here. Okay, so here's some more information here. So it says he has a prior arrest for assault in 2024. This incident involved him allegedly attacking a woman with a knife. Okay, so this is all the stuff we were looking at. He pleaded as a misdemeanor as an adult. As assault. Receiving a sentence. Okay, so we already looked at all that. But what is this? Oh, this is his social media here. So would this be Twitter, right? Am I thinking this is Twitter, or is this... Okay, so he said 2 years, that's 2 years ago. Where is he headed and for how long? This part of motherhood is really hard on a mom. He is headed to Idaho to work with his dad's tree work company. Okay, so maybe his real dad, lives in Coeur d'Alene. That's probably what it is. His real dad probably lives in Coeur d'Alene. His stepdad and his mom and his mother live in... Okay, so that makes sense. Maybe it's a divorce thing. And his real mom lives in... So it's probably his real mom and his stepdad that live in Arizona. And his real dad probably works in Coeur d'Alene. Oh, wow. For summer break, I assume he definitely will learn and grow. No, it might be permanent if it works out. So she's talking about it being permanent for him to go live there. That was 2 years ago. So this was when he was probably 18. So I guess he probably did live in Coeur d'Alene from what it looks like here. All the internet sleuths are coming out of the woodwork here. Okay, so everyone's saying Russ Rowley is MAGA for his parents being supporters. What they fail to tell you is his parents had a restraining order on him. He went to jail for attacking someone with a knife, and he is not from Idaho, just there for work. And last time I checked, normal men don't wear pink mermaids on them. He's got a pink mermaid on his backpack. That is kind of weird, huh? But then again, remember there was talk that he had kind of transitioned or something, that he had like a transition or something. He looked kind of like a transgender, maybe. Only LGBTQ poke poo mind warped from DEI individuals paid for by Democratic world order. Because so many people are saying that he's MAGA. Okay, so it says Russ Riley was a transgender lunatic. I don't care who his parents voted for. Yeah, he was a transgender lunatic. Many kids are radicalized by their parents. That's not the same, dude. Come on. So another 20-year-old, Matthew Crooks, and now Wes Rowley. Do these feel like a pattern? Obviously, something crazy is going on in that kid's head, or was going on in that kid's head. He's no longer here now, but he was definitely taken out there. So it says, am I nuts, or did Resparelli do this all by himself? Sounds like total BS. Is anyone buying this lone wolf story, or are we just ignoring the obvious connections? What do you guys think? Do you think that a 20-year-old kid could have done this? What do you guys think? Yeah, it's not trending anymore because, well, Resparelli doesn't sound Muslim enough. Now, if it was a Muslim, everybody would be freaking out all over the world. See, this is a picture of him in 2017 with his mom. This is another picture floating around. The parents introduced him to weapons at a very young age. He had an AR, I guess. So how old was he there? (2017), so he was probably at 70, 80, 90, 20, that was 8 years ago. So he was like 12 or 13 there. He was 12 years old there, showing off his weapon there. Well, you know, they taught him how to shoot, and then guess what, man? Maybe he ended up going cuckoo. The stepfather of Idaho shooter was in a recent trip to Washington, D.C. Oh, come on. No way. That's not true. What? How can he be sitting at the that's got to be fake. That's got to be fake. Come on. Can they do that with AI? See, you don't know what to believe nowadays. How can we even believe that that's even legit? With a dark MAGA hat sitting in front of him, with a dark MAGA hat. Come on. Is that even legit? Oh my gosh. Let's see what the comments say on this. See, they're already politicizing the tragedy. It's fake. It's got to be fake. Yeah, this did not happen. There's no way that could happen. But then again, you know, with the AI like that, you can't tell now if that's even legit. I mean, do they allow people to go to, you know, I mean, the reflection and everything makes it look like it's legit. I mean, geez, I mean, it looks like he's really sitting at that table. But with AI now, they can do all kinds of crazy stuff, you know. It says, yeah, it doesn't matter what the parents. It is, bunch of liberals are definitely going to take advantage of that. So this is the New York Post. Oh, come on. It says an eerie photo has him a sinister grin or a sinister look. Is that the one they're talking about? Let's see. There's 7 photos here. Let's see. See, mainstream doesn't even have any of this stuff. They don't even have any of this stuff yet. Anyways, well, I think I'm just gonna leave it at that. But they're saying this is what they're saying. This is what they're saying he is. Now I don't know if that is him. This is what they're saying is a more recent photo of him. Could that literally be him? I mean, seriously, dude, did he just flip out and? Oh man. All this is just people are just freaking out on this right now. This is all major news right now for people that are trying to figure out what's going on here. Well, I'd come on camera, but I'm my hair's all messy, and I'm just going to come back on a little bit later. I'm going to do a devotional on the devotional channel. So for everybody out there that's following, if you want to be on the devotional site there, the BP Ministries channel, I'll be on in just a little bit, do the devotional, and then later on we'll do news on the channel here. By the way, really quickly, we're going to be giving away another $500 big, beautiful bug out bag. BBBBB. Big, beautiful bug out bag or go bag or whatever, worth $500 with lots of food, lots of freeze dried food involved, and little stoves and all kinds of little knickknacks you're going to need if you're like in a camping situation or in a place where you got to get out of Dodge if something big happens, especially with all the things that are going on. You never know what's going to happen. All of you who are of the self-reliant sort. But then it's also great for camping. So, you could use it for camping or whatever. But we call it a go bag or a bug out bag just in case of a natural disaster or a disaster that happens because of, incompetent, government that brings about chaos in the world that actually affects America. Now, everybody's saying everything's getting better and it's all roaring back. But who knows where it's all going to go from here, especially with Iran ready to go back to war with Israel. You never know what's about to happen. So bug out bag giveaway if you're a member of this channel. So all you got to do is hit the link below to become a member. The giveaway is going to happen in about 3 days. I think we're going to do it we'll do it on the 4th. 4th of July, we're going to give it away. Well, we'll put a bunch of 4th of July stuff in there too or something that, make it all patriotic looking. And so if you want to be a part of that $500 giveaway, all you got to do is be a supporter of the channel and sign up on our channel here to get put into the giveaway. It's going to be done live where we spin a random wheel, kind of looks like a wheel of fortune. Everybody's name is in it, and it's going to be spun right here live on the camera. You'll see your name in there. It'll spin around, and randomly it picks. It's a digital spin the wheel type of, random picker. Some of you guys might have saw it last time we did it. The last winner was Tyler Bennett, and he got his bug out bag last month. So we're going to be doing another one here in a couple days. We're going to be adding people from our Patreon. Anybody that's a supporter of our channel, that's a regular supporter, we're gonna give it away to you guys. Okay, so we'll put everybody's name in there, and if you're on the list, we'll put you on. So try to support what we're doing because we definitely are trying to drum up some support. These are some of the things that we had in our store from before. We still got some leftover things. We're trying to drum up that support. So be a part of the BP News channel and help us continue on doing what we're doing. And we thank you very much. And I'll be live in a little bit. Okay, guys?